Hello everyone, this is Rebecca from Papeterie de Choix, and I'm here with a viewer request technique DIY video. I did a project last week where I had printed some vintage pictures, and then I had used some matte medium and some paint to take the gloss off because all I have is glossy photo paper, and I didn't want them to be glossy. I wanted them to be matte. So I'm going to repeat what I did on those pictures last week, but I'm also going to do some experimenting to see what works best. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to paint with matte medium these top three, and then use different paints. I'm going to use the same paint on this one and different paints on these two that I did last week, and then these I'm going to use just paint, different ones, and see what the difference is and see which one comes out better. So what I have is this. I found at the thrift store, and I've had it for a few months now, and I use it just every once in a while, but this is the brand. I don't know anything about the brands. It's not something I use a lot, but it gives me what I want with making something matte where it's glossy. So I just put a little on my brush and just put a thin coat, because it don't take much, and it just takes the gloss right off. And then that might actually be a touch too much on that one. And these, I don't know if I'll be cutting them down like I did the other project. But ultimately what happens, I noticed, is the brush strokes, and if you go back and forth and up and down and that sort of thing, that's what gives you a little bit of the texture. The other thing too is the matte medium brings up some colors from underneath, and I did edit these pictures. These are not exactly like they were. I did some contrast, I did some lightening. What else did I do? I darkened the highlights and lightened some shadows, especially for this picture because it was very dark. And then I also enlarged them just slightly, just enough for me to get away with, because if I printed them out at the resolution that they gave them to me, where I downloaded them from, they would print at like a 2 by 3.5, give or take. So I just enlarged them enough so that the pictures wouldn't get pixelated. This is about the size that I want to use. So so those are going. It don't take but just a minute for them to dry. So let me do this part first. This one's still a little bit damp. That one is. They feel cold. That's how you can tell that they're still a little damp. And I got me a container of water over here for my brush, and I know that the gloss around the pictures might reflect a little bit, so just ignore that as much as possible. Now the colors that I used the other day, this is a brand from Hobby Lobby. It's an Anita's brand, and I'm sure you can get it other places, made by Rust-Oleum. It says on here somewhere, Rust-Oleum. So you probably could get it other places. But the color is called Woodsy Smoke, and that's the color I used first. And then this Apple Barrel, which is a Walmart brand, or that's where I buy it. If I'm ever in Walmart, I very seldom go in. antique parchment. So those are the two colors that I used in the project last week. Now, something that you will need if you want to replicate this is you'll need a dry paper towel and a damp one, but not the whole thing. I just use my water here and just damp a little bit into it. So basically, what I did is I just used a little paintbrush. Probably should use a bigger one. Let me reach over here and get one that's, oh, that's way too stiff. There we go. And, well, that might be too big, but I'm going to make it work. So basically, you just want to put a little paint on your brush. It don't have to be much. And just, I know it looks awful, but you just do that. And then before that it dries, you want to wipe it off. And then if it does start to dry before you get it all off, then that's when you take another one. Just dip a tiny bit in water, because you don't want to do any saturation whatsoever. You just want to lightly remove a little bit of that upper layer of paint. And what I did on the other one was I concentrated the removal of stuff around the face. Now you can see there's gel medium on her face. So I'm going to go just a little bit firmer, just to remove a little bit more of that. And then the next thing is the antique parchment. Now there's definitely other ways to age pictures. This was just something that I did because I had already printed them. I didn't have any other real means to lighten them, and I thought, well, I'll just try this and see if it works. And it worked good enough for the project that I was doing. So, now I don't know how well this one is going to turn out, because it's so dark. So this one just might be a, scrap it and go on. But you can see down here on her clothing how it's lightened up. But I also see that that it's taken off a little bit of the color of the ink. And I think it's because this picture was too dark. Rub over that just a little bit more. That's not bad, but I don't know that I would use it. I think it was just too dark. Okay, so now, since that one turned out kind of iffy, I'm going to do the same thing again on the second one. Okay, and then just rub it off. Now this looks more like what I was getting the other day. And you don't want to saturate it, because this is still paper, no matter what kind of paper it is. It's still paper. So this is the damp one. I need just a touch more water there. what I'm trying to do here is take the paint that I've put down and make it smooth, if that makes any sense. Take some of the brush strokes out of it, or take some of the... Let's do this now. Okay, now let's do the white. It might actually turn out that these work better without the gel medium. But what I wanted to do was get the shine off. That's why I used it in the first place. Like that part right there. But it definitely makes them grungy. I don't know if it's a grunge that, you know, we'd actually like. I'm putting a little bit more over that. Okay. Now, I'm going to keep using the antique parchment color, but I have an earth brown, espresso brown, and silver sterling enamel. I thought, well, silver is what they used on some of the old-timey pictures. And then I have a metallic chocolate brown. So I thought I would use one of those. Let me get... Probably going to end up getting that same little brush back out that I was using. So the next one that I want to use is actually this silver. I want to see what that does. And I don't think it has a shine per se, because it's not, I don't think it's metallic. This is for glass, I believe. I'm probably going to have to go get me another paper towel. I'm liking that one with the silver. Yep, that's good. I like that, because it makes it look like the old-fashioned one. When you turn it a certain way, you can see the silver. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use each one of these browns and wipe on and then wipe off and see what we get. Now, also part of this is whether it works or not is also what kind of ink that you have in your printer and that sort of thing. So that has to be taken into consideration. I think I'm going to do this one. This is the chocolate brown metallic. And it's a folk art brand. I got that at Hobby Lobby. Now I have used gold metallic on my jelly plate with a print that I got out of a magazine, and I really liked how that turned out. I don't know. This one might be a dud. For sure, for sure. This is without the matte medium. Well, I don't know. Let's see what we get in here. Wipe it before it dries. I think my ink, it's wiping off my ink. So that one, that's a dud. That is a dud. Okay, so I'm not even gonna, well, I could try it. I started to say I'm not gonna try to fix it, but it's all experimentation. But I don't think this one's gonna work. No, that one's not gonna work. Okay, so I believe that the key to this is it has to have the matte medium over it. Otherwise, the paint just takes up the ink. So what I'm gonna do is I probably ought to go get me a couple more paper towels. So I am going to put matte medium over these two, and then we'll carry on with the other two colors. Yep, I think the matte medium is necessary for this little thing. I don't know what that was. I think it was a piece of the silver paint that had hardened around the lid. Okay, now, and it's trying to stick. Okay, while that dries, I'm going to step into the kitchen and get me another paper towel. Okay, that can go in there. Okay, so the first one I'm going to use is Earth Brown. It's Anita's that I bought at Hobby Lobby, made by Rust-Oleum. And compared to the Espresso, it's a little more red. So I'm going to put it on this picture over here and see what we get. Well, it definitely made it more brown, but I don't like that it's pulling up the ink, and I didn't have that problem on the other one. Same ink, same everything, but maybe I didn't let that dry enough. I'm not sure, but I need to do the, I don't want that brush. I need to do the antique parchment now. I think I'm going to do it with the dry one first. Yeah, this one's turning out better and more like the ones that I did last week. Well, this one's definitely grungy with that big mark right across the bottom of her face. But okay, That one I would deem a success even with that mark because it did do exactly what I was looking for. Out of these so far, this one's okay, but I wouldn't use it. This one I would use. This one I might use. So let's see what happens with this one now. And this is the espresso. And it's more brown as opposed to red. This picture has a lot of like red in it, so that's why I wanted to use the darker brown. I've lost a thread, it looks like, from the paintbrush. Okay, let's see if I can wipe it off before it... There. Yep, this is much better. And then... I must have used my white brush for my brown. Okay. I don't think I got enough water out of it, but it'll do. Yep. That's what I was doing last week. Now I'm going to use just a little bit of this damp part and just go over her face and body a little bit. Alright. So, except for these marks right over her face, this one actually is not bad. Let's see if I can fix it just a little bit. I don't think any more is going to really come up. But actually this one's growing on me, it's not bad. It is grungy. This one, I think I could doctor it a little bit more with the white, maybe. Not the white, but this antique parchment. I'm going to see what happens. And then wipe it with a dry one. And then wipe it with a damp one. No, don't put your finger on it when it's wet. Okay, so I think what we've got is 3 out of the 6 that are somewhat successful. So I'm going to hit these with the iron because I do dry them from the back side, and we'll see what happens after that. And yeah, this one's trash. This one possibly could be, but I could probably use some ink on that and it'd be fine. Maybe this one, but these 3, I would keep this one even though, because I also could put ink over that. But these 2 turned out well. So I will be right back. Okay, so now everything's dry and flat and all that. So what I'm going to do now real quick is get all my paint moved around and get the trimmer. We'll just cut the ones that can be used. And I will hang on to that one. Okay. So out of the 6, we've got 3 that are usable. Now that helped a little bit, but I'm not going to do any more because I also learned the hard way, at least on my ink, that alcohol takes it off. So but that's the paper underneath. So that's the experiment. If you don't have anything else to make your pictures matte with, you can use matte paint, but it's going to be better to use some matte medium underneath it. And also, I think wiping it with a dry cloth first and then a slightly damp one. My battery cut off on me right as I was ending the video, but I want to thank everyone for watching, and I will see you in another video very soon.